You know, The Hunger Games first hit the shelves way back in 2008, and it just exploded. It became this huge cultural phenomenon. But there's something more to it than just a great plot and characters we'll never forget. There's a reason it still feels, well, so incredibly relevant today. So let's dive in, shall we? Let's unpack why this story still hits so hard, all these years later. And this quote, yeah, this really nails it, both entertaining and deeply thought-provoking. Because that's the magic of it, right? It's not just some action-packed story that keeps you on the edge of your seat. It's also packed with these really big, tough questions. Questions about power, about the media, about our own society. And that's exactly the mix we're going to get into. That blend of a total thrill ride with some seriously deep stuff to chew on. So that really brings us to the big question here, doesn't it? Why does this story still feel so urgent? I mean, after all this time, what's the secret sauce? What gives it that lasting power? Well, to even begin to answer that, we have to go to the source. We've got to understand the absolutely brutal world where this whole thing kicks off. All right, so let's step into the world of Panem. And trust me, this isn't just some random setting. Panem is practically a character in its own right. We're talking about a nation built on the ashes of what was once North America, a place designed from the ground up for one thing, control. And you really have to get your head around this grim reality to feel the full weight of this story. So what is Panem? Well, it's a nation of just insane contrasts. On one hand, you've got the 12 districts. Life there is just a constant struggle, poverty, backbreaking labor, and it's all to serve the people in charge. And then you have the capital, the seat of all power, a city dripping with ridiculous wealth, over-the-top fashion, and it's completely, utterly blind to the suffering that makes its lavish lifestyle possible. And this right here, this is the heart of the whole conflict. It's not just that some people are rich and some are poor. No, it's a system, a deliberate system of oppression. For the people in the capital, life is just one big show. It's all entertainment. But for everyone in the districts, it's a daily grinding fight just to survive. That chasm between them, that's the engine that powers this entire story. And how does the capital maintain that control? Well, they have the ultimate tool, the Hunger Games. Think about this. Every single year, as a sick reminder of a failed rebellion, the government makes each district hand over 2 kids, a boy and a girl. They call them tributes. These 24 children are then tossed into a massive arena to fight to the death, and the whole thing is broadcast on live TV. It's this absolutely horrifying show meant to do 2 things, entertain the capital and scare the districts into never, ever stepping out of line again. So in a world this twisted, who could possibly make it out alive? Well, that's where we meet our protagonist, Katniss Everdeen, and let me tell you, she is not your typical cookie-cutter hero. Not at all. So let's talk about Katniss Everdeen. Look, she isn't looking for glory, she doesn't care about being famous. The only reason she ends up in the games is because she volunteers to take her little sister's place. That's it. Everything she does, from that moment on, is driven by one thing and one thing only: survival. For herself and for the people she loves. She's incredibly brave, super resourceful, and fiercely protective. But she's also kind of walled off emotionally. And that realism, that rawness, is exactly what makes her such a powerful character. And then there's the other tribute from her district, Peeta Mellark. The dynamic between these two is just fascinating. You've got Katniss, right? The ultimate survivor, who's all about the practical, what do I need to do to not die today stuff. And then you have Peeta. He's the total opposite. He's charming, he's kind, and more than anything, he wants to hold on to who he is, his humanity, even when he's being forced into this monster situation. He's constantly pushing back against the whole idea of the games, which makes Katniss, and all of us really, think about what winning even means in a place like this. Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting, because the games, they aren't just about kids fighting in an arena. Not really. They're actually a lens, a way for the story to dig into some much, much deeper ideas. We're talking about control, the insane power of the media, and yeah, even the very first sparks of a rebellion. And the capital's system for keeping everyone in line? It's honestly a masterclass in oppression. It's got layers. Step 1. Keep everyone in the districts poor and desperate, always scrambling for scraps. Step 2. Use pure fear. The annual reaping is a perfect way to remind everyone just how powerless they are. Step 3. Blast nonstop, televised violence into every home to desensitize everybody and turn human suffering into a spectator sport. And the final touch? You force the tributes themselves to play a part, to become characters in this sick, twisted reality show. And this leads to one of the most powerful struggles in the entire book, the fight for your own identity. See, to survive, Katniss can't just be herself. She has to perform. She has to play the role of the girl on fire, a character created for the cameras, for the Capitol's audience. That internal war she's fighting, trying to hang on to the real Katniss while the whole world is watching, is just this brilliant commentary on media manipulation and that constant pressure to be someone you're not. So you've got the action, you've got the incredible characters, you've got all this deep commentary. What's the final verdict? What did the review ultimately say? A massive 4.5 out of 5. And that's not just because it's a thrilling story. The review makes it super clear that the high score is for how brilliantly the book pulls everything together. The action, the characters, and that razor-sharp social commentary. So, what were the key strengths? Well, the review really points to how the book manages to balance that nail-biting action with its smart critique of society. And because it's all told from Katniss's point of view, you're right there with her. You feel her fear, you feel her determination. The pacing is just relentless, especially once they're in the arena. But it's also punctuated by these moments that just hit you right in the heart. That combo is what makes it stick with you. So when you boil it all down, this is the big takeaway. The Hunger Games is so much more than an adventure story. It's a really powerful and, frankly, unsettling look at how authority can be abused to control people, how the media can literally be used as a weapon to warp reality. And it shines a huge, unflinching spotlight on the devastating results of extreme inequality. And that kind of leaves us with one last lingering thought, doesn't it? The story really holds up a mirror to our own world, to how we consume media. You know, we live in a time where reality TV and actual real-life tragedy can sometimes get blurry. They can start to look alike. And so the book leaves you with this really chilling question. When entertainment and reality start to merge, who are you really rooting for? And more importantly, why?